Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Gordon Zulu. As earlier explained in the other video about the future value, so will the explanation be. But in this video, we will try by all means to differentiate future value from sinking funds. One thing we should know is the future value is always at the end of a financial period, while the sinking fund is always at the beginning of the financial period. In this case, the financial period I'm trying to elaborate is either annually, monthly, quarterly, biannually, or semi-annually. With me, I have two examples which have the same content, but the English and the words in them are a little bit the same, so that we know to say on which instance should we calculate future value and on which instance should we calculate sinking funds. Then I haven't in my example explained about present value. Why? Because we know to say present value is the reciprocal of future value. In this case, the reciprocal, what I mean is the English that is used when calculating the future value and the present value is slightly different. Why? Because in the present value, you will hear words like how much should he deposit now. So when we are dealing with these future value and sinking funds, we should know and understand the kind of formulas that are being used. So I will firstly write the formulas and display the examples so that we can solve them together. So these are the two formulas. So this formula is for the future value and this formula is for the sinking fund. We should know to say there is no difference between this one and this one with this one. Why? Because here on R, I did not only divide with the number of compounding periods. So the question itself will state compounded quarterly. If it is compounded quarterly, annually, biannually, semi-annually, you go with these two formulas. Why? Because AM represents the number of compounding periods. So with me, these are the two examples. So these are the two examples. The other one reads here to say Joe deposits that at the beginning, so that already is a sinking fund. And the second one says Joe deposits that at the end, and that one is a future fund. So we'll firstly start by solving the one which is at the first, which is the sinking fund, where the A node is the $500 while the 12% is the rate and the 7 years is the time, while it continues to say 12% compounded quarterly. How many quarters are there in a year? We have 4 quarters divided into 3 months, 3 months, 3 months, 3 months. So we can now use the data given to calculate the value for the sinking fund, of which we will just replace in our second formula. Why not the first? Is because the first is not containing the number of compounding periods. So if we do our substitution, this is the result where you can just divide here 0.12 divided by 4. Where 0.12 is coming from, we divided the 12% divided by 100 so that you take it in a decimal. So when you divide here by 4, the answer you get is 0.03 plus 1, which is 1.03. Also here the end result is the same, but here it is different. Why? Because there is no one, so here the end result is only 0.03. So from here we can just do the addition, where you will get your answer to be 1.03. Also here you will just do the addition where your answer will be 1.03. Then you multiply. Remember we said the number of compounding periods being 4, you also multiply the number of years by 4. So 7 times 4, that is 28, minus 1 over 0.03. Immediately now you do your calculation. 1.03 you punch on your calculator, so you will have 500, 1.03. Then if you punch on your calculator here, this part, it will give you 42.93. Then from here you can just go directly by punching on your calculator and you will find your answer to be 22,109.43. So this is the value for the sinking fund. But we know to say we had the other example here which read to say Joe deposits that at the end, where we said, remember at the end we are looking at the future value. So we know to say the formula which is being used is this one. Why? Because in the statement they had to put compounded quarterly. If they had to put compounded annually, we know to say annually, we are putting a period of 1 year, and any number divided by 1 still won't change anything. So in this case, we know to say the computation will be the same. It's just that on the sinking fund, we had this again, which was growing aside. So here we'll put on our A node, we'll put a 500. 1 plus 0.12 divided by 4. We multiply the 7 by 4. Minus 1, what we are doing also here is 0.12 divided by 4. We know to say this was already computed. This was already computed, which is here if you check properly. So we have 500 already multiplied by 42.93. So when you get your calculator, 500 times 42.93, you get your answer to be 21,465. So this is the value for the future annuity. Remember, guys, always when you are calculating sinking funds together with future value, pay attention to the wordings being used. Sometimes when you're calculating sinking funds, you will never find the words like beginning. Then how do you not say this is a sinking fund? Remember, by definition, when you're looking at sinking funds, these are accounts set aside to either replace a broken machine or rather replace sold taxis, sold buses, any you may like. So kindly subscribe, like, and share. Invite your friends so that we grow as one. Remember, knowledge is the key to success.